it's Lovely Scrap in here. I wanted to show you a tutorial on how I made these flowers inspired by Prima. I'm calling them my Pirouette flowers because they look like little ballerinas with tutus on them. So I'm going to show you how I made this one. I'm going to do it in a different color and then that'll complete my pack here. I've just made these packages to store them in right now. I'm not selling these at all. I've just started on making these and they're very addicting, and I kind of made up my own background template and I inked up these backgrounds myself to sort of match the flowers. So I eventually want to build up my collection and then maybe start selling them and get some proper packaging and stuff like that. So there's a lot of work into that, and I'm just a little busy with my little one. So still on mat leave, and then I'm going to be going back to work here soon. So I don't know how much time I'm going to have to do a bunch more of these, but I wanted to show you quickly some of the flowers I've been making. These ones here have the jewels, and I hand made these, not made the jewel, but I hand put them together anyway. And for some of these flowers I've done like a reverse flower for it, so you can kind of tell there. And various fabrics I've been using. Some are like, this is like an organza. I really don't know the names of these fabrics except the tulle and the satin one here. A lot of these fabrics I just picked up at the thrift store for a wicked price. So there's that one there, and then the green ones and the purple ones there. So these are just sort of what I've been starting on. I'm going to do like the little dangly thingies, I think, on all of them. Maybe I'll keep some plain. I don't know. I'm still sort of playing with it, but these are my little pirouettes, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make this one. Okay, I'll be right back, so hang in there. Okay, so to start out, I'm just going to take my 3.5 inch circle of fabric. So it doesn't matter what fabric you use. For this, I'm using some leftover pink satin I have, and I'm going to actually dye it to be, this one's called Redbird Cardinal. It's a homemade spray. This one I didn't add glimmer to. If you watched one of my previous videos, I kind of briefly touch on my glimmer mists and how some don't have glimmer and some do. This one I might add glimmer later, but I don't want it to be shiny, sparkly for this because the satin already has a bit of a shimmer to it, so I don't need to add anything to it. So anyway, I just take this, some tulle. I think I measured this out to be approximately 55 inches long, and it's about 1 3/4 inch wide or 2 inches wide. It's, again, approximate. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be cut to however you want it afterwards when it's all done. I just take a scrap container, and I'm actually just going to get my box here. Bear with me a second. There we go, just because it can be messy. And I'm going to throw my satin in there first, and then I just take my spray and give it a really good spray. I want lots of ink in there, or paint. I probably should use gloves, but I'm not going to right now because I don't have any on hand and I'm trying to rush. So I'm just going to give that a good soak. And then I'm just going to take it out and just put it here for a second. I will dry it in a second, but I'm going to take my tulle now and put it in there. I'm also dyeing this. Taking my spray again, giving it a good spray, making sure it's covered. And I just kind of scrunch it together to make sure I get all of the little holes and whatnot. Okay, so that's done. So I am going to go ahead and just dry this with my heat gun. So you just want to be careful when you're heating this, obviously, because your heat gun is so hot that it will melt your tulle if you leave it on there too long in one spot. So I just keep a good distance. I just squish it around because it sort of helps get rid of those little bubbles of moisture in the tulle netting. And it really does not take long for tulle to dry whatsoever. And that's pretty much dry. So that is kind of like when you scrunch it up, you're going to get an idea what that's going to look like on the flowers. So this is the tulle. Now I'm going to just dry off the satin. The satin takes a lot longer to dry. So I might heat it up a little bit and then let it air dry the rest. But okay, so while my satin is drying, I'll show you how to go about doing this portion of the flower. So all I did was I took my tulle and I folded it in half. If you don't have access to a big long piece of tulle, you can just take 2 strips if you want, because I'm going to snip this end anyway to make 2 strips. That's a roughly 27.5 to 28 inches long or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's sort of play with it and see what you like, but for the flower I'm making, I like it about 27.5 inches. So because there is big holes in the netting, what I do to make sure that this little knotted end of my thread does not go through is I just take my needle and I go through the two pieces of thread like that, and then I pull so it will kind of hold at the end like that. So, and then all you do is take your two pieces together like this, and you start doing a straight stitch all along the edge. Try to go as close to the edge as possible, but not too close because the thread might just pull out, because the netting might just sort of give way. So you just, I hope you guys can capture this. Sorry, I'll go maybe a closer up to the camera. All I'm doing is doing a straight stitch, weaving in and out, and then pulling. It really doesn't matter what color your thread is because it's not going to be showing anyway in the flower. So just make sure you're catching them both together and continue along till you get to the end. Okay, you know what, guys, as I was checking my video footage as I was doing this, I noticed that it's really hard to see with my table color and the craft mat that I'm working on. So I just put a white piece of paper stock down so you can kind of see again. So I'll just show you again, just going and doing a straight stitch, weaving in and out of the tulle. Okay, so as I get to my end here, this is the folded end, so all I'm going to do is snip it in half. Like that. And just continue my straight stitch. Sorry about the lighting too, you guys. This room I'm in, unfortunately, has the worst lighting ever. If I put on my little spotlight here, it just makes it look worse on camera. It looks great for me, but it doesn't look too good on camera. So I've tried that too, and I have a lot of daylight through the window coming through, so I try to do my videos in the day. Hopefully I'll get some new lighting here one day, some good lighting. Okay, so as you can see, we're looking like a little tutu. So now to close up your ends, you're just gonna take and just do a few stitches through the beginning end that you started on. So I'm just gonna put my, hopefully, sorry if I'm going off camera, guys, just put my thread through there, and you can see it starts to close. And then I just do some reinforcing and just kind of going through the center on one side and popping out the other, just to really reinforce my little tutu. So I just pull. So it's kind of tied up there. I'm going to keep this thread on here because I'm going to use it to reinforce the center I'm going to be putting on here in a bit. So we'll go into the next part now.